Hi, this is Dave. Welcome to my November vinyl finds video. Most of the records that I picked up this month were from a trip to Amoeba Music in Berkeley. Rasputin Records in Berkeley. And the KUSF Rock and Swap Meet. That was in San Francisco on the campus of the University of San Francisco. So I usually, especially when I go to Amoeba, I always pick like 3 or 4 records out of the $1 or $1.99 clearance bin, just to give them a shot. So the first 4 records here are our clearance records. First is Firetown. This is a 1987 band out of Madison, Wisconsin. Kind of a 80s roots rock record, similar to maybe the Bodines. A little bit of jangle in the guitars, but not enough to put them in the jangle pop category. This is a pleasant listen, but not really much more than that. I find it kind of tame. There's one track on here that did kind of jump out at me. It's called Carry the Torch. This is going to go back into the trade-in box. This band did, however, go on to much bigger things. This band included Butch Vig on drums, Doug Erickson. Those two, along with their producer / manager, teamed up with Shirley Manson and formed Garbage. Next are 2 records by the Swimming Pool Cues. This is The Deep End from 1981. Self-titled record from 1984. I'm only familiar with these guys by name. I know they came out of Georgia around the same time. REM, B-52s, Pylon, Love Tractor. I actually haven't had a chance to spin this yet. If anybody out there is familiar with the Swimming Pool Cues, I'd love to hear your opinion about them. Next is Herman's Hermits. 1967 record, Blaze. When I first saw this, I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Maybe this is a classic 1967 psychedelic pop record. Then you turn it over and realize, no, it probably isn't that. And it's not. But what it is, I think it's an excellent pop record. I like it better than their British Invasion hit era with I'm Henry VIII and Mrs. Brown, You Have a Lovely Daughter. So this is a keeper. This is going into the collection. Next, I was thrilled to get this. Grateful Dead Reckoning. I kept missing out on all the reissues, the Analog Productions and Vinyl Me Please issues that everybody was raving about. So I just finally broke down and bought an original US Aristocopy. Man, do I love this record. Everybody knows about this. It's a compilation of tracks recorded at their 1980 acoustic sets from the Warfield Theater in San Francisco and Radio City Music Hall. This has that country, bluegrass, folk vibe that Working Man's Dead and American Beauty have. Jerry Garcia is just in fine form on this record, both singing and playing. About 75% of the songs on here are Jerry vocals. Every song's a highlight on this, with the biggest highlight for me being the LP ending version of Ripple. I think they had only played Ripple 10 times between 1970 and 1980. So what a treat it was. Beautiful rendition. Love this record. Next, the current 2024 reissue of Neil Young and Crazy Horse's Ragged Glory. Finally, I've been waiting for this to be reissued for so long. One of the best reissues of the year. This reissue checks all the boxes for me. It's a reissue of a hard-to-find expensive record, and it has a noticeable improvement in sound quality. This thing is 63 minutes long, and on the original 90s pressing, it's a 1 LP set. So you have 63 minutes of music just crammed onto 1 LP. You know, it's cut very quiet, obviously, really lacking dynamics. This, they spread the record out over 3 LPs, all analog mastering. The sound's fantastic. Every song on here is fantastic. You know, I love this early 90s hippie grunge Neil Young. Very happy to have this in the collection. Next, Metro, self-titled 1977 record. This is a record that I would see all in the bins all the time, very inexpensively, you know, $5 to $10 at the most. Then I decided, hey, I want to get that record in my collection. And of course, once you make that decision, it all of a sudden becomes rare and you can't find it anywhere. So finally picked this up. This band is Duncan Brown and Peter Goodwin. This was a glam rock record. Put out well after glam rock had already faded away. The key track on this is Criminal World. If you don't know it from this record, you probably know it from David Bowie. He covered this on the Last Dance album. Precious is another great track, as well as Black Lace Shoulder. And this record gets bonus points for me because the BBC banned the single Criminal World. Any record banned by the BBC gets extra street cred. Next, a record that's been real high on my want list. The Replacements, Tim. I got this at a really good price at the KUSF Record Fair. You know, cover's got some issues, but the record is near mint, plays perfectly all the way through. And that's the most important thing, right? You can always upgrade the cover later. This is such a great Replacements record. Bastards of Young, Left of the Dial, Here Comes a Regular, Kiss Me on the Bus. It's great to finally have this. Next is a record that was suggested to me by another VC member. This is the Chills, Kaleidoscope World. This is the current reissue on blue vinyl. This is a compilation of all of their early singles. Love this so far. You know, I've the Kaleidoscope World, Frantic Drift, Pink Frost, some of the songs that jumped out at me right away. This is a band that I see myself digging into a lot deeper. This is going to go into heavy rotation, I think, here at the Infidelity household. Man, I really love this record, and I'm definitely going to start digging deeper and finding as many records as I can from the Chills from New Zealand. Next is Shoes, black vinyl Shoes. This is a reissue of a 1997 power pop classic. You know, finding an original of this record is virtually impossible. Even if I did find one, I wouldn't be able to afford it. So very happy to have this reissue. Got an insert, all the information you need. And it comes with a reproduction of the iron-on transfer that was in the original pressing. This has one of the great power pop songs of all time, Boys Don't Lie, Tragedy. Fantastic record. I'm loving Black Vinyl Shoes. Next is Trapeze by Medusa. This is an excellent power trio, hard rock record from 1970. Really surprised this wasn't more popular back in the day. It fits right in with Uriah Heep, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath. These guys went on to bigger things after Trapeze. Glenn Hughes went on to join Deep Purple. Mel Galley went on to join Whitesnake. And Dave Holland went on to join Judas Priest. Well, that's my November 2024 vinyl finds. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.